Clearing Mainstream. We are live in the Book of Faces. Hello, 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 guys. It's been a minute.
We just had our Christmas break, our little holiday break, family time, focus on us.
Yeah. I really, really, really needed to take the time off. Took the time off, 2 weeks, got to rest, relax, not do anything for the business because I needed to walk away from it so I could appreciate it and miss it just a little bit and actually want to come back and do things, do stuff. And now I'm back and I've been going and going. There's going to be more coming.
I was just sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, I see a change like that 2 weeks. I feel like you're more vibrant and just more upbeat and just yeah, let's do this. I definitely see that 2 weeks really helped you kind of, find your balance.
Even the hair too. I'm like, oh, let's just cut my hair myself in the bathroom like I used to do as a teenager. Why not? And I took a while and I cut them like, I don't know if you guys saw in the stories. It was like this long I cut off. I'm like, ooh, I think I just went a little crazy. Okay. And it was wet. So when you cut wet hair, it shrinks afterwards because when it's wet, it's straightened out all the way as much as it could. So that's why that looked even longer. And I cut it. It's actually it's the same length. The way that I did it, it's called a wolf cut. I'll record it often done this wolf cut speak. So it's a wolf cut that is going all over the social media now. My daughter kept bringing it to me and asking me, can you cut my hair? Can you cut my hair? So I cut her hair and I've been watching these videos. I'm like, what? It looks good. It looks familiar. And then I was cutting my daughter's hair. I realized that's how I used to cut my own hair as a teenager. From my niece who was older. Back in Russia, we called our cousins in a different way. So she was considered to be my niece, but she was about 10, 15 years older than me. So she was a hairstylist, becoming one, and she taught me how to cut my own hair on my own. Just do it at home. Put it all in a bunch, cut it from the top, and it'll be all layered. Because what you're doing is, when you're cutting it on top, your top, wherever you put it, that's why if you want bangs, you put it closer to the front. Mine was kind of right here, so that's why I got the little bangs. And if you want longer in the front, then you put it more in the middle. But anyways, put it on top, and I cut of my longest part, which is the back, just this much off that, and it just happened to be a lot more in the front. So really, that's all it was. Yeah. So let me push record. There you go. We'll start the intro again. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday Heal the Unicorn podcast. We go live in the Facebook group at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time every Wednesday, except the last year. Yeah, it was a break time. Kids were on break. We took a break. My husband had to take a break because his arm had been hurting him, so couldn't do work, which was perfect. I was like, yay, got 2 weeks off. So it was really nice to step away for a little bit. And it's also important to do that in a relationship. Because a business, I'm in business. I'm in a relationship with my business. We all are, right? With a job, that's why there's vacations there, so you can leave your work for a little bit and then want to come back. Or if you don't want to come back, then you start questioning if this is really what you want to be doing. And this is where people find themselves at the crossroads and changing directions, which is perfectly fine. And I also knew that was a possibility for me, that if I just stepped away for a couple of weeks, that I might change course. And well, I didn't. But anyways, today, the topic is, where's the drum roll? I don't have the drum roll. So the topic today is balancing your hormones after birth control device removal. And I will have Bethany do most of the talking on this topic because she's the one who has experienced that firsthand. My experience with the birth control, I only had one experience, which was when I got engaged to my husband, and I was on birth control for about 1.5 years. And we stopped using the birth control, and I felt and I sensed and I knew that it changed me, and it really, really did. I'm not going to be putting my kids on that birth control, but things have changed since then, right? The one I was taking, it was just like those little pills that if you forgot, you go, oh my
God. Right. Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Yana. I always love our Wednesday talks. So with the birth control, this all happened right before the new year. It was the 22nd. So it was in that break time we had, which was amazing because I was able to find more balance, more alignment. I was able to step into my power more and be my true self, all because I took out this birth control I had. So I had the Mirena, the IUD, and I'm not sure if people are familiar with it, but it's the one that goes inside your uterus, and it's the 5-year protection. Now I guess it's like it can protect you up to 7 years or something like that. They've changed some of the guidelines on it. But anyways, so I went in on the 22nd, and it was coming up on my 5 years anyways. And so it took me a little bit of time to decide what I wanted. But from day one of getting this birth control and removing it helped me realize all these things. So once I got it removed, I had instant clarity. All this brain fog I was having, gone instantly. I felt so much better. It was like that fog, like when you're in your foggy area and it finally lifts and you see everything, you see the bigger picture. It was there. And I was just like what? Like windshield wipers, rubbing my eyes, like, oh my God, this has been here all along. And so what I came to realize after really reflecting on it was the minute I put that form of birth control in me, because of the certain type of hormone that's in it, I can't think of the name at the top of my head because each birth control has a different form of the progesterone. But with this form in the IUD, it did not do good for me. I had major side effects. So with this birth control, you're supposed to not have periods. You're supposed to not have really like cramps as much. There's all these good things about it, but they don't really talk about the side effects of it as much. And I noticed for me, and I only knew this, like I said, because of getting off of it. But when I got it, that was when the minute my anxiety and depression started to come at an all-time high. That's when I slowly started to fall away from my true self. That's when I turned into a worry wart, because before that I didn't have like that worrying, all those what ifs, oh my gosh, what's going on? And what happened is putting that IUD in me, I blocked my sacral chakra, and that also blocked my root chakra. And that is all about your belonging, your safety, your creativity, your passion, your self-love, your confidence. It's all there. And the minute I put that in, I put a wall up, and I didn't realize I did that. Because I don't know, I was just on birth control. Before that, like I took other forms of birth control. I took the depot shot, I took the pills, and I was like, well, this is just birth control. It's not going to do anything else. I was wrong. And so the minute I took it out, that's when things have started to align more. I've started to become like, I was always stepping into my true power, but I was holding back, and I would have these blocks, and they were really hard to push through. And now they don't even faze me as much anymore. Like, it was just like after a storm, when the sun shines, it was like, like it was the most beautiful thing. And I did get back on a different birth control. I decided to go with the depot shot, but I've taken the depot shot before, and I've never had bad side effects on it, and I still haven't had any side effects. So really, it just removing that, the IUD was one of the best things I could do to start this new year, new me. I know 2 weeks ago when we had our podcast, we talked about new you, the wheel of life, new you. And I really liked how we ended it there, only because it allowed like 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks for people to really focus on what they wanted for themselves and to really dive into that video more. Mm-hmm. So I think it was really awesome the way we did all that and you did that. But yeah, so if anyone is struggling with some of these side effects that I've talked about and you have the IUD, you may want to look into a different form of birth control. Just from my personal experience and me coming from a place where I didn't have high anxiety 5 years ago, and then all of a sudden getting it and my anxiety was at an all-time high. Like my safety my insecurity was at an all-time high. And not all the time it will have to do with your birth control, but a lot of the times it does, because you're putting in those artificial hormones. And sometimes your body isn't going to like that hormone you put into it. And each form of birth control has a different form of hormone for the same thing, but it's made different. So yeah, that's kind of all I have right now. I'm sure more will come, but listen to your body. I didn't listen to my body for 5 years. And the minute I listened to my body, it was amazing. The confidence came soaring in even more. Like I thought I had confidence, but now, like, I'm like, whoa, that was like a little like a dot of confidence. Now I just feel alive and full of fire and just full of like the desire to grow and expand. So like I was saying, if anyone's have dealt with this stuff, like the mood swings, that's something else. When I got off of it, so getting off of it was hard too, because your body has to readjust. And I was going into mood swings left and right. I'd be happy, then I'd be mad, then I'd be sad, then I'd be happy again. And I'm just like, holy crap, man, a lot's going on here. Woo! Yeah, so it took time to adjust as well, but the adjustment was really growing. It really helped me see who I am even more, who I am without it. Yeah, but
you have lots of tools that help you.
Yes.
To work through such an intense time where it kind of got me thinking of after giving birth. There is a lot that a woman goes through. The hormones are out of whack. Mm-hmm. And it takes about a year for the hormones to get back to normal. And unfortunately, too many doctors will also prescribe antidepressants during that time as well for women, which just, it does not help. At least it did not help me. It caused me to have more depression. Whereas prior to that, I, as a teenager growing up, not really so much. Yeah, I had moments, who doesn't? Right. Things happen, right? But when you take something out, which again, like I started thinking, because you explain it as it's an actual device that's put inside your body, and your body knows that this is a foreign substance, foreign device. Get it out, and the body has been screaming and telling you, get this mofo out of here for how many years?
It was 5 years. And I'm glad you brought up that whole thing with after giving birth, because I got the birth control 2 months after my son was born. So I didn't even give myself time to adjust. I just went straight to this birth control. And I think, like, I'm glad you brought that up, because really with those two things, I was a hot mess.
I mean, I personally, and this is a personal opinion, I'm not a doctor, so don't take my advice, right? Or don't say, oh, that's it, this is how it is. I personally believe that we are born the way that we are meant to be living, and anything and everything that we go through, we are more than capable of dealing with it and healing through it and living with it. that there is no need for external intervention to come in and mess up a perfectly balanced system that just got out of balance once in a while, right? I mean, the river, or let's not talk about the river, because we all want to be more like the river, which is just flowing, just going, right? Going around things. That's how we humans were born to be. But we become more like a lake, where we're trapped in this bubble and we can't get out of this bubble because we don't know what life is. We don't understand who we are, what to do, how we're supposed to be doing it. Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Always feeling like a failure. And it starts at a young age and continues. A huge part of that I'm learning is the school education as well, which we're not gonna get into that. We don't have the time for that, because that
Right.
would be like even half an hour would not be enough for this. But indoctrination that kids go through, that I went through, which seems perfectly normal from the outside to all of us, but if we really sit down and we think and we educate ourselves on how all humans live around the world and how humans lived before, and 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 history, a lot of things we can educate ourselves on, and then come to our own conclusions, what makes sense for us, how we want to live this lifetime, right? Don't allow anybody else to choose what life you're supposed to live, what life you should be living, or what not. So what I'm saying is, if for me, for example, birth control is not for me, right? For Bethany, it works for you, right? You have many other reasons which we spoke about before, and this is a perfect example. Just because we are on different sides of birth control here, that we're more than capable of having more than a decent and a human conversation. And I also understand that side, right?
Yeah.
We're both flexible that way. And what I would say, like thinking back, when I was on birth control, everything you said, that's what I was going through. My hormones were out of whack at that point. I couldn't tell that it was anxiety. I didn't know what anxiety was, because for me, I would call it boredom. I would feel bored or uneasy, and every time I felt that boredom, I always went and I did something. It was just I could not sit still. I mean, mind you, up until that point, I still couldn't sit still. ADHD, yes, got it. Who doesn't nowadays? Come on, let's be honest. Social media, thank you. You just magnified that powerful giant in there. But then it turns into uncontrollable anxiety, over time, going through things that forced me to sit still, because I couldn't sit still. I needed to always go, 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 go. And thinking back and knowing what I know about how to live a healthy life, period, how we can heal ourselves with anything, with all of this craziness going on out there. The best thing is your immune system, and which means then how do you boost your immune system? So one thing I'll suggest is watch the videos that I have done with Shell.
Oh, yeah, she's amazing. I love her when you have her on. Gives so much.
The immune system that we talked about. Then we talked about tomorrow. It's going to be fun. It's going to be cannabis talk.
Ooh,
yes, it's going to be fun. We'll be talking. We won't be using. Just say you can do what you want on your end. We don't have to do, but we'll be just doing the talking. So the immune system that we talked about, honestly, any video that you watch that we have done together, which is not that many, which is great for you. You can sit down and watch them all. And then the liver health. Liver health is incredible, which was one of the recent ones we did. And so back to knowing everything that I know now, what it takes to live a healthy lifestyle. It starts with your liver and your immune system. If you have a rock solid immune system, nothing will stop you. right? And you can heal through any kind of rebranded flu or cold. So everything starts with nutrition, exercise, rest, hydration, sleep. I'm going to continue using the same hand. Um, Positive external and internal influencers and influencees, which means anything that you watch, listen, shows, movies, TVs, radio stations which you listen to, or you watch the TV stations, propagandas, anything that you listen to is going to influence you. It's going to affect you. And then on top of it, self-care and self-love, which Bethany has. I always knew that they were separate, but I never even spent the time to think of why they were separate, why they were different. But Bethany one day came to me, she goes, Yana, I just figured something out. And then she told me the difference between the two, right? Which is one is internal, but one is external. That's the best way to explain. Because self-care is what you do for yourself and to yourself. And self-love is how you talk to yourself and how you treat yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
So all the things that I just mentioned, those are key to your health. Anything that, when I say nutrition, it's everything that you put into your body, right? I am not an advocate for, Bethany, you know this, I'm not an advocate for anything that is not natural, like any like powder form stuff, supplements. There you go, that's the word I'm looking for. And yet there are, when it comes to vitamins, there's only so much that we can, or so many things that we can eat. So when it comes to supplements, there's still many good ones out there.
Oh yeah.
You need to do the research. That's all really it takes. And if you're not sure how to do research, find someone who you trust who can help you with that. Then again, reading labels, we can all learn how to read labels. Just Google the ingredient. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you. All the stuff you mentioned for your immune system and your overall health, that you have all of that. Yes, I'm just, my mind like, yes, yes, yes. Because it's also important with the positive influences and influences that you talked about with like music. I have a playlist that I made on my YouTube channel, and that's literally the only music I'll listen to unless it's like a binaural beat. And I noticed my quality of life has transformed in a whole 180 degrees because I'm only putting in the stuff I want to listen to. And it's all uplifting, positive music. It's nothing that's going to bring me down. And because there's a lot of frequencies that people will use. And I can't remember the specific one, but there is one frequency that a lot of music has that intensifies negativity. And I'm like, no, thank you. I want all the
radio stations play those.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're bombarded with these frequencies that are hitting our subconscious.
But we can't even hear with the naked ear. TV channels do that as well. The news channels, there is a lot that goes into that.
Yeah,
so and that's mentioning that. Great point.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I don't really want to get into it too much because we'll just go on and on and on about it.
Yeah, we know we can.
Yeah, but that's just, I'm glad you brought all that stuff up because it's so important, and your overall well-being and personal alignment, I believe, from personal experience. And also the stuff I mentioned about birth control, that's my personal experience. I did want to mention that I'm not a trained healthcare professional, so I don't want you to, I'm going to take this out now, go to a doctor about it. Please don't hurt yourself, but listen to your body, because once you tune in and you listen to what's going on, I feel like all the answers just come pouring out when you tap into your feelings and really just tune in.
That is one of the most important key points, and not just a key point, but an action, which is not very physical, that is crucial to our health, and it is part of self-care, and that is to sit down with our feelings and emotions. I want you to really think about it, because not very many people actually do that. And you might be the person that this is the point that you're like, nope, I'm not listening to this anymore because I cannot sit with my feelings and emotions. Absolutely not. It's the scariest thing in the world. And guess what? You're right. It feels like the scariest thing in the world. And there's a reason for that. Because everything good, everything that we really want is on the other side of fear. So when you fear, I just got like chills. When you fear sitting with your feelings and emotions, so much so that you hesitated to shut this off, or maybe you did, and maybe luckily you came back and watching it just because you're curious to hear, what does she have to say about this? You're not alone in this. And if you feel that, that means that this is exactly what you need the most right now, to sit down with your fear, to sit down with your anxiety, to sit down with your worries, to sit down with your guilt, shame, embarrassment, anything that you're feeling and experiencing. Sit down with it as if it is your best friend, because it actually is. Just because right now you're not on speaking terms, you were at some point. And at some point, that feeling and that emotion has helped you in so many different ways that you weren't even aware of. So become best friends with your feeling and emotion that you're experiencing right now, because that you're meant to be. Everything that you were born with, what I was talking about before, you're born this way, and you're meant to have everything that you already have without adding anything else external, right? Without trying to suppress it with, cannabis, for example. We'll be talking about that tomorrow, right? Abusing it will result in one thing. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. And alcohol is another thing. Radio station, TVs, Netflix, gossip. Oh my God, I cannot stand gossip. Yeah. And I used to be part of gossip, but in a nice way. But then again, I don't feel like there is a nice way of gossiping, because gossip has no resolution and no end result. And I don't do that. I don't have those people in my life. And then going back to the point that I mentioned about positive external influencers or influencees, when you're watching certain reality shows that are very dramatic, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, those are the ones that come into my mind that I know how many of have watched it, and those are the lives that they tend to live, because that becomes their narrative, right? So that's why, to your point, Bethany, when you were talking about how you have your channel, your folder in YouTube of the things that you listen to, your go-to, and nothing else, because you want to know exactly what's going into your programming,
Right.
And continue to reprogram the program that you've already been given, to the one that you actually want.
Exactly. And that's what I've been doing and continue to do. And when I find something that I'm not too proud of or I'm not happy with, I decide if I want to change it or keep it there. And a lot of the times it's change. And change is so exciting. I used to be so scared of change, and I used to be so scared of my feelings because I was afraid what would come up. And the thing that I heard was, like when you fear the unknown, well, what is the unknown? It's nothing. So what are you fearing? You're actually fearing nothing. And that like blew my mind open, like, whoa, like you're telling me everything that I'm afraid of is really absolutely nothing, because it's not there yet. It's that what if, that glimpse into that future of like, oh my gosh, this is how this is going to happen. And is it happening? No. And so just reprogramming, it's huge. And that's what I started to do with music, because of those frequencies that we talked about. They go deep into your subconscious. Like today, I listen to 963 hertz, and that's for like manifesting whatever you want. That's like, you are the universe in that frequency. Like you are attracting and bringing that to your form. And then there's one I listen to every day, and it has 9 of all the main frequencies, and it's like an hour long, playlist, but it's like a full body aura cleanse, and it's a cell regeneration therapy. And me doing it every day, I've noticed a significant difference in just my mindset, how I view things, how I handle myself, and how I handle experiences and opportunities. So it's huge. And it helped me with the whole rebalancing my hormones, with changing birth control. Really going to my music helped tremendously. Going into my self-care and self-love stuff helped tremendously. And so if there's one thing that anyone gets out of this, it's I hope that, you go to your self-love and self-care whenever you feel an imbalancement, because when you do that, you'll lift yourself up. And there's not like, I was at a place where before in the past where I'm like, I can't lift myself up. Like how, no. And now I'm like, I've talked to that voice and I'm like, hey, quit making me small. That's my inner critic. And I really liked how you talked about like being your best friend with your feelings, because that's something when you said that, I was like, I was going to mention that about being friends with your feelings. So I'm like, oh, great minds think alike. Yes. Because it's true. Like the minute I started to become friends with my feelings, gosh, the sky is the limit. Like space is the limit. There are no limits. I feel limitless. I feel full of potential and just full of greatness. And I'm ready to step into my power more and more. And that all came from really me removing that birth control, that major block that you were saying, my body was like, get out, get out. And I'm like, no, it's helping me. But
well, I've also heard some horror stories of where the body started growing around. And that's when I'm like,
yes.
No, this is something like out of sci-fi for me.
That was something going into getting my IUD removed, I was very scared about. I was like, oh my God, what if they find out that it's stuck in me and they can't get it out and I have to have surgery because of it? And then me thinking about getting it again, I was like, no, I don't want anything in my body. Like, I'm good. I don't want a plastic material inside me.
Yeah.
And it came out perfectly fine. It was really easy. There was no complications. And I was super grateful for that. But going into that, I was super scared to where I almost canceled the appointment because I was scared of what I was going to find out. Mm-hmm. And that kind of like helped me with stepping into situations that cause fear for me, stepping into the unknown. I sat down with myself and was like, what are you fearing here? There's nothing to fear. If that's something that happens, you'll deal with it. When it's time, it's time. Let's just focus on the now, what we're doing, you're getting it taken care of, and once I sat down with myself, felt my feelings, talked about my feelings, really like held myself as a best friend would hold you, being your own best friend and your own cheerleader, it just, it was amazing. And having that minute, have it taken out and having that fog lift and have me be like, oh my goodness, this is who I am. Like, I am myself. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing.
Acceptance of yourself is important. And feelings and emotions that we experience are important because they are the biggest part of who we are. They, in a way, dictate who we are. And that's why it's important to take the time to truly understand who we are in all areas of life. And I personally have gone through a couple of programs that were supposed to do that job, and there's only one that did the job, that helped me to understand more of who I am, and not only understand exactly the law of being.
That helped me too tremendously. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And because we're not meant to be enemies with parts of ourselves. We can't ignore and avoid parts of ourselves. And that's why, balancing our hormones. How do we balance our hormones? Our hormones express themselves, that we really notice, is in the way that we act and react through our feelings and emotions and thoughts. And if we knew who we truly were, we would accept all parts of ourselves, and we would love all parts of ourselves. And when anxiety comes in the morning and it's there, and you wake up and you be like, hello, anxiety, my friend. Let's hang out this morning. I've missed you. Heck, I've missed you. How are we going to hang out today? We're going to sit our big butts on this big ball of the beanbag. Talking about myself. And actually, I say, I'll sit my fat ass on this beanbag, so I struggle to get out of it. I'm not fat, but I gotta joke around with myself a little bit. And we are going to hang out. How do I hang out with my anxiety? Just like I would with a friend. If my friend is not feeling well, I'm gonna ask my friend, what's up? Why are you feeling that way? What happened? Do you want to talk about it? No. Okay. You want to sit with it and you'll just feel better by sitting? Okay, let's do that. That's your body trying to tell you, or your mind trying to tell you, I don't want to dig deeper. And that's okay. You don't have to actually figure out the root cause of your anxiety each and every time. It helps, because then once you identify what it is, then you can actually deal with it. Because anxiety comes from a place of unknown, or we're like feeling anxious about the past, but more often it's the future, which is attached to the past, right? Something is going to happen in the future. I know it will because it happened in the past. Here you are assuming things, which is one of the things that the law of being helps you to work through and identify more. And neither one is helping you. Going there doesn't help. Going there doesn't help. And assuming because of that, because of this, it's not going to help you permanently. It might help you temporarily, which is a band-aid, but it's not going to help you permanently, because we're all here trying to find a permanent solution to the human condition of feelings, emotions, thoughts, the human condition. We're trying to rid ourselves of the human condition, but that's what makes us us. And if we don't have that, then who are we? What do we have? Then we might as well be zombies and start eating one another, because we're already doing that, not us, but other people are eating each other in different ways, eating each other's energies and trying to poke each other and trying to start wars and fights, and it's not necessary. There's my end spiel.
Right. Yeah, it's that cannibalic energy, like that, and cannibalic, like it's very it has very similar meaning as you learn in law of being, and having that anabolic, that positive, that's what I strive for. But I know that yes, there are times that I will feel down. There are times that I won't feel my 100% self. But like we talked about, when you feel the feelings, you tune in, you sit with yourself and those feelings. Man, just so much love and so much peace comes from it. And it may, like, someone dealing with really high anxiety like I've in my past, if you would have asked me this 4 years ago even, I've been like, no, this is a problem. I need a pill. I need this to go away. I need to avoid it. But coming to the terms that I just needed to love it. I needed to love myself. I needed to sit with it and be friends instead of trying to run away from it. And once I started the friendship, man, things changed. Things changed.
See, this right here, we're gonna end right here. But this example that we're talking about right now, the struggle that is so way too real for practically every human being on this planet that has gone through school. School does not teach us the things that we actually need to survive in the real world. And that is how to take care of ourselves, how to love ourselves, and then take care of those around us. We're really not taught these things at school. I wish we were. I wouldn't go back and change things in the past because I'm not that kind of person. I never wish to go back. I wish things were differently, but by me wishing things were differently for me, I will make them different for my kids, because I will bring this education, this information to my kids and for my kids. And I will do everything I can to make sure that they have the best future they can. And it starts with me and my choices for my kids, right? And for all of you parents out there, it starts with you, with all of your choices for your kids. And I am going to take a moment and remind everyone, including myself and including you, Bethany, because you're everyone, is that no matter who you were yesterday as a parent, you are a different parent today. Do not beat yourself up for your so-called failures, because they're not. They are leading you to your best version. And believe it or not, you are the exact parent that your child needs right now. And if you do recognize that you made a mistake, then do your best not to repeat that mistake, right? Continue to catch yourself on that mistake, because it's not just going to happen, just because you're aware of this mistake now, that it's going to go away magically. It doesn't, right? Anger is one of the mistakes that we often don't want to have. When we get angry, it's like, oh, I wish I didn't. But that too had a purpose for them and for you. All you can do is you can do better going forward and continue to educate yourself, because you will only be the best based on your knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
And if you want to be better, then you must do better. You can't expect it to just magically happen. And I know probably all of you right now, if not most of you or all of you, are saying, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to educate myself. I don't have time to sit down and do all these things that I know I should be doing. But if not now, then when will you have time?
Exactly.
When and again, also, I'm trying to find the words to explain the feelings I have and what I'm trying to say here with my feelings. And it's that, don't blame yourself for being yourself, which is hard to do. It's really hard to do, because we've been programmed to do that very thing. It's self-punishment, it's self-discipline, it's consequences. I'm just trying to think of the words that we use for, for how we explain the punishments we put on our kids and the punishments that we put on us, the consequences of our actions, right? I personally don't believe it's necessary to punish our kids for the things that they, they messed up on. And everyone I know does this. And it really, really breaks my heart to see everyone, still including myself, once in a while I catch myself and I stop. And that's what I'm saying. Don't beat yourself up for catching yourself in the process of making a mistake. Right? Or catch yourself after you've made it, that you can fix it going forward. You can do better. We have to do better. We have to do better than our parents did, because our parents did better than their parents did. And every generation is doing, all of us are doing the best that we possibly can, the best that we know, the best to our experience and knowledge. So with all the knowledge and all the experience that I have, I still make mistakes. I still get angry. I still find myself starting to say, you know, if my son doesn't do what he is supposed to do, because we all have our responsibilities, we all have our chores, we all have things that we need to do, that if they don't do it, that this is what's going to happen, that you don't get to do this, you don't get to do that. Because then what happens when we do that is when they grow up and they become an adult, and they are allowing themselves, so for example, I'll take myself as an example, and I allow myself to take the 2 weeks off for the break, that in the beginning, I was riddled with guilt and shame and embarrassment. And why am I wasting my time? I should be doing this, I should be doing that. So I would punish myself and I wouldn't allow myself to do certain things. And there was a video I watched and shared it a while back. It was from this comedian show. It doesn't matter what the show was, but there was a man who was sharing his experience of what he was doing until he sought out help, until he hired a professional to help him with what he was going through. He was a comedian, so prior to that, you know, growing up, his dad would punish him, physically punish him, right? Hit or smack, or, you know, a quick reminder of how you messed up, and you must deal with this, right? And you have to be punished more for it. So as an adult, does his stand-up comedy, and it takes him years to even master that skill. And then when he would feel like a failure, he would take a bottle and he would hit himself with that bottle until he bled. Because he continued, and that's what he realized. He continued that cycle of punishment that he was taught, that he was trained, that he was conditioned to. So hormones, balancing them, kind of falls into the same category in there as well.
Definitely.
So I think we've said more than enough in this 30-minute video.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I wanted to, it's like mistakes are lessons. Like I like to use my mistakes as lessons. When I do a mistake, instead of a failure, I'm learning from it. What can I do better next time? How can I handle it better? And exactly what you said about learning and growing and education. That's like the best way, because you learn new ways to do things. Like for me with my anger, sometimes I overreact, and when things don't go the way I wanted to, and I have told my son, my family, hey, when I get like that, can you help me hold myself accountable by telling me to breathe? At first, I may be like, what do you mean? But I really think this is going to help. And Uriah did that to me the other day. He's like, Mom, take a deep breath. And I was like, at first going to be like, what do you say? And then I was like, no, he's right. Yes, take my breaths. And it just was an all better experience all around. Because then I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I almost lost my cool. Thank you for reminding me to breathe. Because sometimes we need that reminder to go back to our breath. And so
that's a great reminder as well. And I'm glad that you involved your family into that. I refer to that as policing each other, policing each other's words, policing each other's feelings and emotions, because we are not very often aware of how we are coming across. So that's why it's important for the outsiders to check us and say, wait a minute, I can sense something coming in here. Check yourself, please. And of course, you know, the ego comes up with
Yeah. Right. Yep.
yeah.
But
And then you tune in your true self. It's like, yes, you're right. Okay, I got it. Got it.
yeah, exactly. So I think I'm glad you said all that stuff. Thank you for that reminder. It was beautiful. I would like to close. I have two poems that I'm going to make into one because I think they just tie perfectly together. So let your intuition open you up to your vibrant self and seek your inner peace. While I dig and work on clarity, wisdom always follows.
That's 2 in 1 because it sounds like one.
Oh, it's two different ones. I know, they go together, huh?
Yeah, exactly. They go together like bread and butter. Mm.
But yeah,
Go
so
to your butt.
yeah, that was just my closing thoughts with everything we talked about. I just thought that really aligned because it's really going into following your intuition and following your inner wisdoms that helps bring that peace.
Sitting with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's like the biggest question I get is, how do I sit with myself? How do I know when my body's speaking to me? You just know. Well, how do you know? Because you will feel it, you will sense it. It will be in your thoughts, it will be in your body. It's your intuition. Your intuition speaks to you that way. You just haven't heard it. And that's why it feels uncomfortable and scary in the beginning when you just initially start to sit down and listen to yourself. And apparently, you know, I wanna ask everyone this question. But then you can answer live. Everybody else can answer in the comment box or whatever platform you're on. Because apparently there's only 30% of people that are able to do this, that actually do this. That do you have a dialogue that happens in your mind? Just like having a full-on blown conversation with yourself. Do you have that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But apparently only 30% of people are able to do that. And then my response to that was, because a lot of people, they don't have the time to pause and stop and think and work through their thoughts or identify their thoughts. So therefore there's no dialogue that happens. The only time the dialogue that does happen is when something, you know, shit hits the fan and you need to deal, and you're really just rehearsing what you're going to do, what you're going to say. It becomes just a dress rehearsal in your mind. Whereas the 30% I'm talking about, it's stories, new thoughts, new ideas, like a full-on dream that you're, you know, elsewhere in a way.
Right.
Which if you are not in the 30%, I know you can be, by learning to sit down with yourself and your feelings and emotions and practicing visualizing. It's not just going to happen on its own. And visualizing is just thinking of images, thinking of imagery, pretending you're somewhere else, right? Daydreaming is what it's also called, or often referred to. So that is what I want to leave all of you guys with. Let me know what is your biggest takeaway from this whole entire video. As in, after you watched all of this video, and right now, what is the one thing that popped into your mind? Maybe there's more than one, you can share those as well, but at least there is guaranteed at least one thing that popped into your mind, and that would be your biggest takeaway. Mine is stepping into my own power. That's the thing that came into my mind. Step into your power. Yeah. Thank you. I do the claps. We're perfect. You do the snap because only one of my hand snaps. This is it. Oh wow. Clapping, both of them work. Yeah. Yay for me. So thank you, everybody. It has been 2 weeks too long, but I'm glad to be back. And I appreciate you, Bethany, coming up with this topic for today. It was great, and there was a lot in there. And those of you that are interested in working with me, or going through the law of being with me, or on your own, or I also have a group guided law of being coming up. I'm going to start it in March. Keep your eyes and ears open. You'll see the discounts coming up for that as well. So those of you that are interested, it's going to be coming out soon, or you can message me and you can get a head start and get your access to your program before we get started. And yeah, other than that, hope this was helpful. And please share it with somebody that I can pretty much guarantee can benefit from all the information in here, or at least some of the information in here. Share it with that individual or individuals, and I would greatly appreciate it. I know Bethany will as well, and I know they will as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, other than that, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bethany. Much love.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you for having me again. And until next week.
Till next week with a new topic. Yay!
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.